Hi there. I'm here with Jack Menashe, the owner of Menashe Jewelers in West Seattle. You've been here
49 plus years in the same location.
49 plus years in the same location, and I'm honored to have some time with you today. We want to hear a bit about your business and how you got here. And thanks for taking the time, and thanks for lining me up with some jewels for the event.
Beautiful.
Yeah, these will be hard to say goodbye to.
You're colorful in a lot of areas. You're red and green, yellows and diamonds.
Gorgeous, gorgeous pieces. So was your family in the jewelry business, or how almost 50 years ago did you get into this business?
Well, I'm gonna kind of speed up the story. So I've been in the jewelry business since age 15. And in those days, most jewelry stores, even the mall stores, they sold radios, TVs,
all kind of stuff.
Some beam products, a lot of giftware, because this was way before the specialty type stores, the electronic stores or the tabletop stores and so forth. So they had to have a high school stock boy type thing to check in the stock and clean the toilets and everything. So I started at age 15, worked all the way through high school and college at a jewelry store, a large chain store here in Seattle. And it was very pleasing to me. But my dream job when I got out of the University of Washington in marketing and business was to go to work for Nordstrom's, sell shoes, because a lot of guys made a lot of money there. From there, they worked themselves up to a buyer, to a manager or floor manager, and so forth. And I didn't even think about the jewelry business. And back in 69, 70, terrible recessions here in the Northwest. Boeing was Seattle, and nobody was hiring. I couldn't get a job. So long story short, I went back to the jewelry business, and this is where I'm at.
Wow.
But the final part of the story is my wife is born and raised here in West Seattle. I'm born and raised here in Seattle. And we had 3 or 4 different locations that we were considering. And she didn't think that West Seattle would be able to, even though she was born and raised here, would be able to be the right spot for us. But I overruled her, and I says, honey, we're coming back to your area. I just grew up in Seward Park, which is just over Beacon Hill. This is where we're going to be. And thank goodness the second choice that she liked was downtown Seattle, right across the street from Nordstrom's. But with what's happened to downtown and over the years and a family and everything, we made the right decision. And I'm very, very happy, and she's very happy. And that's how I ended up here. And that's how I ended up in the jewelry business. I really didn't want the jewelry
You kind of
business.
just stumbled into it.
I stumbled into it because I wanted to get a job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, gosh, and those years you must have seen so much change in West Seattle. I mean, what did the Junction look like when you opened the store?
It was very, very small town, very, very loyal, which it still is today, very vibrant. Next door to me was a penny store. The other side over here was a big sporting goods stores. There was a family shoe stores, 5 for you, 5 of the most beautiful ladies apparel stores. Obviously, that's all gone away now. And I knew 15, 20 years ago when these changes were being made that the West Seattle Junction was going to be a place of destination more than it was like an old-fashioned downtown. It still is, but because of the way the stores are and the amount of restaurants, and still, it's a place of destination. And we, not the jewelers, the retailers here had to refocus themselves, and I've talked to a lot of them, that we are a place of destination now. So we have to stand out and take people like you. Why would you come to certain areas here in West Seattle? Restaurants, yes. Certain specialty banks, yes. Certain stores, but we did not have the brick and mortar. We do not have the brick and mortar retail today that we had 15, 20, 30, 40 years ago.
Right. Yeah, and you mentioned earlier that you are in the whole city of Seattle. You are one of the few brick and mortar jewelry stores like this.
Independent, yes.
Yeah.
Independent, family owned.
Wow. Yeah, that's unbelievable. I didn't know that. Mm-hmm. That's really neat. So the changes that you've seen over the year, I mean, where do you think it's going from here? You know, we have a good core, and I think
we have a good core.
I think that this is a destination place for sure. You know, people, you know, I could see people coming from all over the city to your business. Sure. You know, because it's one of the few big jewelry stores that there is that I know of.
And I think to respond to you. Luckily, the jewelry business in general hasn't been completely affected by all the different types of competition. Mm-hmm. People still like to touch and feel and try on.
Yeah.
And we'll say you inherit a beautiful piece from your grandmother. Where are you going to take that for an appraisal, for restoration if need be, and talk to a professional about that, and so forth. So that's part of the success in big market, small market, still brick and mortar jewelers all over the country. So that's important.
Yeah,
and so forth. And to answer your other question as to where we're going, because of people like you and the West Seattle location, the real estate business, obviously, there's more and more people that still love West Seattle. We're going to get the bridge back going, and there's still a desirable, between the real estate, the amount of people, the diversity of the market. And I love to say to you that I have people that live in $1 million condos on the beach, now multi-million-dollar homes. I have people that come from White Center, from Burien, and I love the diversity. We're right in the middle of two high schools, so we believe in early relationships. Someone's buying a wedding ring. High school kids come in, they get acclimated to the store, they get acclimated to certain people, and that's how you build a business.
Right. So what are your, you know, I see you're working here all day, every day, you know, and over the years you must have, you know, met so many amazing people. What are like the golden nuggets, the things that make you feel good about your job at the end of the day?
That's a great question, and I'm answering that more and more all the time. Again, I already mentioned I'm so blessed to have 2 of my 4 children. My oldest son, Josh, has been with me 26 years. My daughter's been with me off and on, full-time and part-time, for 14 years. And what a pleasure to work with children and so forth. Who knew that I would be saying this to you today? Why I love this business is there's more happiness than there is sadness. And there's been a lot of sadness going on in this world. To sell somebody an engagement ring or to sell your husband something for you, it's happiness. And then we're having 2nd and 3rd generation people that have coming into the store, and then the word of mouth. You can't beat the free word of mouth advertising. And you know that when you have a satisfied real estate customer who's going to refer you to somebody else and to what you do. You can't beat that. And on top of that, I live here in West Seattle. I don't have to deal with the traffic. I can come in whenever I want. 5 minutes, 6 minutes from my home to hear the happiness, the smiling faces. Yes, there still is sadness here in this business when people have broken relationships or they fall into trouble. But the happiness far exceeds that. Yeah,
that is just such a sweet thing to think about. You know, that, you know, nobody goes to buy a piece of jewelry because of anything bad. You know what I mean?
No.
It's like I'm buying, you know, my daughter earrings because she's graduating from high school, or, you know, I'm buying a piece of jewelry for our wedding anniversary.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a really sweet thing to think about. That's a really nice thought.
But we still have people, guys mostly, oh, Jack, I'm in a little bit of trouble. I better take my wife something pick up something to take home. I was out late the night before, and I just laugh my head off. But that's still happiness.
Yeah, right. Happiness. Yeah, they're smart enough to know that they need to go, and and jewelry. This speaks a lot louder than a bouquet of flowers. I'll tell you that.
Yes.
So, I mean, I've seen so many outrageously gorgeous pieces here in general.
Sure.
I mean, what has been like? Is there any piece in particular? Like I know I've seen a vintage Cartier ring here that I just can never forget about it. Just like the size of a stone or anything like that, or a perfectly clear diamond that stands out after all these years. That you're just what a special piece of jewelry here.
Well, I'm going to tell you one special sale, but then I'm going to finish your question with another statement. The nicest, I met a princess through her security people here about 10 years ago. She was here for a big meeting, and somehow someone told her, or her security, about this particular store.
Fun.
And I happened to have, when she came in with her security, I'll never forget it. She had 3 security guards.
Wow.
From Saudi Arabia. I just happened to have a big New York diamond dealer in here. And she came in, liked the store. What do you have in diamonds? I've always wanted a 10-carat diamond.
Whoa.
I had the diamond dealer right here in the back. I went in the back. I pulled out a 10-carat. She says, Mr. Menashe. She slurred my name a little bit. How much is this diamond? I gave her a price. She says, I'm going to buy it. You'll have a cashier's check here in 48 hours. She bought it loose.
Oh, I was wondering what she did with it.
I have no idea. I never heard from her again. I never heard, saw a picture, an email, or anything. That was an unusual story.
Yeah.
But to get back to the unusualness, in my opinion, of this store, with a merchandise background, I'm very much into reality. Being an older guy that has some health issues, I'm not going to be here forever. And I am planning with all the inventory that people see out, and I have things in the back. And as you know, I'm just helping my family because, as you know, the success rate, I may have told you this too, the success rate in any business of the second generation is less than 50%. And the success rate in the third generation is less than 25%. So I'm saying to myself, how can I help them? And if you have inventory that is ageless and it's paid for, that's going to help the success of this place.
Right. Absolutely. I mean,
and that's my theory.
It's interesting in these times, because the price of gold is so far up.
Yes.
I mean, it's a timeless investment.
Just to give you back to that 10-carat diamond. I know what that diamond cost 10 years ago. If I was to buy that diamond today, it would cost wholesale over double. So some of these things in here are better than spending money in the stock market.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Maybe not better than real estate, but better than the stock market.
Well, similar because they're both an asset. You
Yes,
know,
they are.
I think, you have a house provides you with a place to live, and it also is an investment. But these types of things, this is timeless.
Sure.
You give this to it stays in the family forever.
Yes, it does.
And it could be the type of thing that it's worth this today, and then,
absolutely,
40 years from now, who knows what. But it's jewelry is also very sentimental, so despite the value, nobody, I would not sell a sentimental value thing.
And things don't get old or stale in our business.
Yeah.
And I love that I can make a mistake in either buying something or creating something, but if it can stay in here, it'll eventually find a home.
Right.
And because its styles change a little bit, but it's very fundamental too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very interesting business.
Yes,
You've done a great job at, just every time I come in here, it's busy, whether it's a Tuesday afternoon or a Saturday afternoon. It's great. And it's fantastic to see your family working together.
It's a joy.
Yeah.
It is a joy to come to work.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's great. So was it always this big?
No, it was not. The original store in 1973 was 725 square feet.
Oh, wow.
And in those days, jewelers could make a living fixing watches, fixing clocks,
Right.
and so forth. And all I really, coming from a big jewelry store business background, marketing, merchandising, all I ever wanted in this store was for your husband to come in here and know that there was another place to look at something beautiful for you, that he wouldn't have to go to downtown or South Center. And that's always been my goal, is to make new relationships and make this a place where we still do the fixing of the watches and the clocks, but a place that someone could buy something special and plant the seeds for the young couple that want a beautiful engagement ring.
Yeah, that's sweet. That's really nice. Yeah, I mean, it's such a... It seems like it's so fun. You know, oftentimes people think real estate, like, oh, it must be so fun. You know, I mean, it seems like a very interesting, fun place to be.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
So do you have your grandchildren working here too?
I have my grandchildren working here. My oldest granddaughter, this will be her third summer of working inside the store. But because the Junction, as you know, has a street fair and so forth, the younger ones have... I tease them and tell them they're working on the street. But eventually, though, they will be coming in here too, a little bit.
Yeah, I do actually remember them last summer. They were great. They were just hustling.
Yes.
Heather's one daughter in particular, she was just great.
Yes.
They were having a contest who could sell the most.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And being in the jewelry business, I don't think I was cheated with 13 grandkids and 10 of them are granddaughters.
Yeah. No, right.
So there were no mistakes made there with all these granddaughters. But I love the three grandsons too.
So you think this will be here? The grandkids will likely...
I'm hoping, you know, as I've tell so many people, I have 4 children, and I knew by age 12 of each of them which ones potentially, because I didn't know what was going to happen, which one potentially, with their personalities, work ethic, and everything, would be interested in what it takes to work in retail and to work in the family business and so forth. And guess what? The 2 that I thought were the 2 that are here. The other 2, I knew were not going to be good fits. And so that's that. And that's where we're at with that. Well, I really think that the West Seattle Junction will always be vibrant because of the real estate, get the bridge going, and the location to downtown Seattle and to the freeways and so forth. It'll be interesting. You'll appreciate this, and I'm sure you know that being in the real estate business, is that 25 or 30 years ago, they changed the zoning here. Whenever that was, I lose track of the years. And I really thought when they changed the zoning to go up 7 to 8 stories, that there would, all the local, the owners and would either themselves or come together. And it's been amazing to me that there's only been the one development across the street from Huskies that's gone. Then now on Alaska.
Yeah.
And a few other things. But now things, because of the real estate, I probably won't be around, but I can envision this being retail and brick and mortar businesses on the ground, and then apartments or offices up above here, I'm sure in the next 15 or 20 years.
I agree.
There are other, other developments, as you know, going on in the next block with your husband, and then what Leon's going to be doing already here in this block. Yeah. So it's happening now, but I thought it would happen quicker than it's happening.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it seems like people value the single family homes in West Seattle, but we definitely do have a younger demographic here. So when you bought your first house in West Seattle, do you remember what you paid for it?
I do. I'm glad you asked me that question.
Less than $50,000?
Here's the story. I'll just give you the about story.
Okay.
My wife did, first of all, Joshua was born in May of 73.
Uh-huh.
He was our first child. I went to the hospital. In those days, as you know as a mom, you stayed in the hospital 2 or 3 days. Now you go home in the next day.
Yeah.
So I went to the hospital and I told her, I'm leaving my job. We have this brand new baby. We're coming to West Seattle, your home. And I'm buying this business. She started to cry,
Right.
bawling her head off.
Yeah.
And she said to me, well, if you're going to do this, we're not going to get an apartment. So our first home was 6 blocks west of West Seattle High School on 48th.
Mm-hmm.
$11,000, $900 down was the last $900 I had. And that was our first home.
No way.
$11,000, $900 down.
Oh, that's insanity.
And that was just before the prices in 75, 76, they started creeping up. And then we eventually went to our next home, which was over on her family home that she was raised in. And then from there, it's been 41 years that we've been in our home now on the beach.
And when did the Christmas lights start?
27 years ago.
Right, 27.
27 years ago.
That is so much work. So is all the family works on it together? Or?
Josh is the heart and soul and
Uh-huh.
the architect behind it. And the other children help, but we have 8 guys that take a week's vacation. I pay them properly, a week's vacation, and they work, as you see the finished product, what you see when you drive by. 8 guys, 7 days, 10 hours a day.
Oh my gosh.
That's just what you see. Then we have guys in November that do the work to take everything out of storage, build it, and keep it in the backyard until they move it. We usually start the Sunday after Thanksgiving, and that, depending on when Thanksgiving falls, that's just about a week before the 1st of December, and then everything is 100% at that point.
It brings so much joy.
It does.
And I was just reminded of something Joanna said to me this past Christmas season. She said that, so many people come there just to take pictures in front of the house.
Yes.
It's something everybody in West Seattle does during the holiday season. And God, I'm actually getting chills thinking about it. She said, this is just what the holidays, what it's all about. It's about, you go in there with your hot chocolate and the kids just love it. I mean, if we miss it, when are we going to Menashes for Christmas?
Sure.
We need to think, and it's always a little different, but, it's just so sweet. I mean, just so much joy you're bringing people.
When we did this, as you just said, I never would have ever expected these stories. Again, I use this, much, much more happiness than there is sadness. But there is sadness too. People that have lost loved ones during the month of December. If I have the time, do you have the time to tell? I'll tell you a little story.
Oh, yeah.
Not this year, and not the year, 2 years ago, before COVID. I was coming home from work. Display was already up. People were mingling. Car drives up, and a lady rolls her window down. Mr. Menashe, do you have a minute? I just wanted to tell you that I don't think they were customers, and I didn't know her. And she said, my mom passed away a few months ago. And I live with my mom. I took care of her. I've never been married. And for all these years, in the month of December, I drive my mom by that house, your house, every day, because that just brought her so much joy. I started to cry. She started to cry, and because she's missing her mom, and what she said, thank you. It brought my mom and I so much joy. I could go on and on with stories and cards and letters. I never ever thought that because of that, that's another factor. So many people feel loyal to that. And because of their families and their kids, they became customers here. And the only reason, a lot of them said, well, we came here we never came here before. Not that we didn't have a jeweler, but you're part of the community. We would like to do our business here. I never ever thought any of that. I just did that for my family, and what came, and now we have all this world and national publicity. People from Australia that are visiting, they come, and this and that, and families and ABC and everything. It's been quite a whirlwind.
Yeah. Well, it seems like there's two very distinct parallel things in your life and in your business life and your personal life. It seems that your business, it brings people joy, and then you do things like that.
Yes.
You know, like the Christmas display that brings so many people joy.
Yes.
So it must, from a outsider looking in, feel pretty good to go through your whole life of not only your business but your family, and just full circle. I mean,
family's always first.
Yeah.
And to get back on track as to how I ended up here and why I left a big job. The big job would have been managing a big mall store. And if you know mall hours, which are all night till every night, Sundays and everything, and forget the stress and everything. Yeah. And you know what? I took this job because I was young. I didn't know any better. My overhead was low. I had one kid. And I said to myself, I can go home to my family at 6 o'clock.
Right.
We're not open on Sundays. And you want to know something? If I succeeded, fine. Had a little bit left over every year, fine. If I didn't succeed at age 30, we'd fold this thing up and I'd go do something else. Whether I got back into the jewelry business or went to work for you, who knows? Or got into real estate. I have a son in real estate, as you know. So I would have done something, but I would have been young enough. I had to try it to see what would happen because I wanted it. I wanted to be able to be with my family and my wife. And that was it. What was all to have a decent hour, a decent life, be able to go to my kids' games and not be tied to a big corporate situation,
and be your own boss. I mean,
well, there's that.
Yeah, right.
That evolved.
Right.
That evolved.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, just an overall beautiful story.
Yes,
I mean, a beautiful family here, and thank you for being here as an anchor in West Seattle. And I mean, the pieces that you have here, and some of the stuff I got in my jewelry box.
Well, you have beautiful things.
Yeah. Well, it just it just brings joy all around. Great joy, and
I want to tell you, you're a wonderful, wonderful blessing to the Junction.
Thank you.
And I appreciate to get to know you and your husband and so forth. So I just wanted to tell you that also.
Thank you. I'm very
because it goes both ways.
Yeah,
it works both ways.
Yeah, I'm committed to the community.
Yes, you are.
I've been here for quite a long time.
I made the right choice.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm hoping that with the changes next door and other things too, that we'll have boutique. Who knows what?
Right. It would be great. I mean, I know the online shopping and the immediate gratification, it's easy. Life is busy, but it's so much better, to feel connected to a business owner where, when Carmelia's next door, if she has a dress in and she knows I have an event coming up and she's like, oh, I got something, come check it out. It's nothing can replace that personal connection.
Yes. And as you know, they've changed hands. Yeah. So I go from now old Linda to new Linda.
Yeah, easy, right? That's easy.
And I think she's going to do well there.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah. For sure. They'll do great. They'll do great.
Yeah.